The abandoned mill wheel groaned against the current, its broken paddles catching moonlight like skeletal fingers. Lyrian pressed herself deeper into the stone alcove, watching the torchlights dance across the river below. 3 weeks she'd hidden in these ruins. 3 weeks since she'd fled the Crimson Keep with nothing but stolen servants' clothes, and her mother's cryptic warning burning in her memory. When they discover what you are, they won't crown you. They'll cage you. But her mother was dead now, executed for witchcraft she didn't possess, while Lyrian, who carried something far stranger in her blood, remained free. For now. A branch snapped, not from wind, but from weight. Something moved through the birch grove with deliberate purpose, too careful to be a deer, too heavy to be human. Lyrian's fingernails began to ache, that familiar pressure building beneath the beds. Not now, she begged her body. Please, not now. Another sound, labored breathing mixed with a wet, rattling wheeze. Against every instinct, she peered around the stone pillar. A massive wolf dragged itself through the underbrush, leaving a trail of black blood that gleamed unnaturally in the moonlight. 3 arrows protruded from its flank, their silver tips glowing with poisonous enchantment. The wolf's eyes, startlingly blue, like winter ice, locked onto hers. "Run!" her mind screamed. Silver-tipped arrows meant wolf hunters. They meant the Shadowmere pack that ruled these mountains. They meant death for anyone caught helping their kind. The wolf collapsed, its massive form shuddering. That winter ice gaze never wavered from hers, and in them she saw something impossible. Not animal instinct, but human intelligence, human pain, human plea. "Foolish girl," Lyrian whispered to herself, already moving. She'd survived 3 weeks by being invisible, by taking nothing, by helping no one. The wolf whimpered, a sound too soft for such a large creature. Her fingernails burned hotter. The thing inside her, the thing her mother died to hide, stirred like smoke beneath her skin. It recognized something in this dying wolf, something that called to like. Lyrian dropped from her hiding spot, landing in a crouch beside the creature. Up close, she could see the wolf was male, his black coat shot through with unusual bronze streaks. The silver poison had already spread, creating web-like patterns beneath his fur. "This is going to hurt," she warned, grasping the first arrow. The wolf's growl rumbled through the ground, but he didn't bite as she wrenched it free. Black blood spurted, coating her hands. The second arrow came out easier. The third had gone deep, too deep. Footsteps echoed from the forest path, voices carrying, hunters tracking their prey. "We need to move," Lyrian said, though she knew the wolf couldn't understand. Or could he? Those eyes tracked her with too much awareness. She tried to lift him, but he was enormous, easily 200 pounds of muscle and bone. The strange tingling in her fingernails spread up her arms. No, no, no. If she shifted now, if anyone saw... The wolf struggled to his feet, leaning heavily against her. Together, they stumbled toward the mill. Behind them, torchlight grew brighter. "There! Fresh blood!" Lyrian half-dragged, half-carried the wolf through a collapsed section of wall. Inside, ancient machinery provided shadows within shadows. She pressed them both behind a fallen beam just as boots thundered past outside. The wolf's breathing grew shallower. In the darkness, his sapphire eyes began to dim. And then, he began to change. Bones shifted with sounds like breaking branches. Fur receded like tide pulling back from shore. Where the massive wolf had lain gasping, a man now sprawled across cold stone, naked, bleeding, magnificently formed despite his wounds. Lyrian jerked backward, her spine hitting the wall. She'd heard rumors of skinwalkers, the moon-blessed warriors who defended pack territories. But seeing the transformation, watching it happen mere inches away, made her stomach lurch with recognition. Like calls to like, her mother had said. You'll know your own kind when you find them. The man's eyes opened. The same impossible blue, same desperate intelligence. Blood, now red instead of black, seeped from 3 puncture wounds across his ribs. The silver poisoning showed worse on human skin, dark veins spreading like a disease toward his heart. Please, he rasped, his voice rough as granite. The arrows. Blessed silver. It's killing me from inside. I removed them, Lyrian said, forcing steadiness into her tone. The poison. I don't know how to... You do. His hand caught hers with surprising strength. I can smell it on you. Moonfire bloodline. You're... A coughing fit seized him, blood speckling his lips. I'm nobody, Lyrian said quickly. Just a runaway servant who made a stupid choice. His ice-blue gaze narrowed. Even dying, it held predatory sharpness. Servants don't smell like moonlight and ancient promises. Before she could respond, he convulsed. The poison had reached his chest, black veins crawling across his skin like living shadows. Kale! A voice roared from outside. Brother, where are you? The dying man, Kyle, tried to answer but only managed a wet gasp. His grip on Lyrian's hand tightened. Help me, he whispered, and the Shadowmere Pack will owe you a blood debt. The Shadowmere Pack, the most powerful shifter clan in the Northern Territories, the ones who served the Alpha King himself. I can't, Lyrian said. I don't know how. Your blood, Kyle interrupted, each word a struggle. Moonfire blood burns out poison, just a few drops. Outside, more voices joined the first. The search was intensifying. Lyrian stared at the stranger. Giving him her blood would mark her, identify her as what her mother died to conceal. But watching him die, when she could save him. If I do this, she said, you tell no one what I am. Sworn, he managed. With trembling fingers, Lyrian found a sharp piece of broken glass. She drew it across her palm, wincing at the sting. But what welled up wasn't entirely red. Silver light flickered within the crimson, like stars caught in wine. Kyle's eyes widened. Impossible, he breathed. They're all dead. The Luna bloodline ended with Queen Seraphina. Apparently not, Lyrian said tightly, pressing her bleeding hand over the worst of his wounds. The reaction was immediate. Her blood hit his poisoned flesh, and luminous fire erupted, not hot, but cold, burning with moonlight intensity. Kale arched off the ground, a scream trapped behind clenched teeth. The black veins retreated, fought back, then retreated again as celestial flames chased them from his body. The mill door exploded inward. 3 wolves bounded through, one gray, one brown, one rust-colored. They skidded to a halt, snarling at the sight of Lyrian crouched over their packmate with moonfire dancing between them. Wait, Kyle gasped, struggling to sit up. She's helping. She's saved. His words cut off as a 4th wolf entered. Massive, pure black except for a white crescent across his chest, moving with lethal grace. This one didn't snarl or growl. He simply stared at Lyrian with golden eyes that held too much intelligence, too much calculation. The luminous flames around her hands flickered and died. She tried to pull away, but Kale held her wrist. That's Theron, he said weakly. Our alpha. The black wolf padded closer, his presence filling the ruined mill like smoke. When he was mere feet away, he did something that made every other wolf present whine in confusion. He lowered his massive head, not in threat, but in something that looked terrifyingly like recognition, like reverence. Then his form rippled, and where the wolf had stood, a man now rose, tall, powerfully built, with night-black hair and those same calculating burnished gold eyes. "So," Theron said, his voice deep as thunder, "the lost Luna heir lives after all." "You're mistaken," Lyrian said, snatching her hand from Kale's grip. The movement left bloody smears across his chest, blood that still held traces of silver light. "I'm nobody's heir." Theron stepped closer, unconcerned with his nakedness. The other wolves remained in their animal forms, creating a living wall between her and the exit. "Your blood burns with moonfire. Your scent carries celestial light. You're either Luna-born, or I'll eat my own tail." "Many bloodlines carry traces of moon magic," Lyrian countered, though her mother's lessons warned never to argue with an alpha. "Diluted, distant, meaningless." "Diluted blood doesn't burn out blessed silver poison." Theron crouched beside his brother, examining the healing wounds. Where black veins had spread, now only faint scars remained. "Diluted blood doesn't make an alpha's wolf want to bare its throat in submission." The gray wolf made a sound of shock. Even Kale, despite his weakness, stared at his brother. "Get him somewhere safe," Theron commanded. Two wolves immediately shifted, a lanky man with silver-streaked hair and a younger woman with intricate tattoos. They lifted Kale between them, though he protested. "Theron, she saved me. You can't—" "I can and will discuss this with our mysterious savior alone," Theron said, his tone brooking no argument. "Take him to Maeve for healing. Post guards, double patrols. Those hunters are still out there." As his pack carried Kale away, only the rust-colored wolf remained. Theron glanced at it. "You too, Finn." The wolf whined but obeyed, though not before casting Lyrian a look that seemed almost sympathetic. Alone now, Theron circled her slowly. 3 weeks ago, the oracle spoke prophecy. When silver flames dance in moonless dark, the lost crown will return to make its mark. The next day, you appear in our territory. "Coincidence," Lyrian said, though her heart hammered. "I'm just passing through." "Passing through?" His laugh held no humor. "These are Shadowmere lands. No one passes through without our knowing. Yet you've hidden here 3 weeks, and we only found you because you saved my brother." He stopped directly in front of her, close enough that she could feel the heat radiating from his skin. This close, she could see scars cross-hatching his chest, each one a battle survived. "What are you running from, little moon?" "Don't call me that." "Then give me another name." "Lyrian," she said, seeing no point in lying about that. "Lyrian." He tasted the name. Northern pronunciation. "You're from the Crimson Keep's territory." His wolf-bright eyes sharpened. "You're running from Lord Commander Raziel." Ice flooded her veins. "How?" "He sent word to all the packs. A dangerous fugitive, he claims. A witch who murdered several guards in her escape." Theron tilted his head. "Funny thing, the guards he claims you killed were found with their throats torn out. Claw marks, not magic." "I didn't kill anyone," Lyrian said quickly. "I know." He moved past her to peer through a crack in the wall. "But Raziel needs someone to blame for the deaths. Someone to explain why his guards were found savaged like animals. Unless—" He turned back, his expression speculative. "Unless they discovered what you were, tried to capture you, and you defended yourself the only way Moonfire Bloods can." "I don't shift," Lyrian said firmly. "I can't. I won't." "Can't or won't?" "Both." Something flickered across his face. Surprise. perhaps even respect. You've never shifted? Not even once? My mother died to keep the secret. I won't dishonor that by... She cut herself off, realizing she'd revealed too much. Your mother was executed 3 weeks ago, Theron said softly, for witchcraft she didn't possess, while her daughter, who actually carries moon magic, escaped in the chaos. Tears burned her eyes. She blinked them back furiously. I won't be caged, she said. Not by Raziel, not by your pack, not by anyone. Who said anything about caging? Theron asked, though Raziel's hunters grow closer every day. They'll find you eventually. When they do, you'll need more than hiding spots and luck. As if to emphasize his point, a howl echoed through the forest, not from his pack, but from something else, something that sounded wrong, twisted. Bloodhounds, Theron said grimly, Raziel's pet abominations, part wolf, part demon, all hunter. He looked at her. They have your scent now. Your blood is on the ground outside. You can run, but they'll follow, forever if need be. Another howl, closer. Or, Theron continued, you could accept our protection. Join the pack until... I don't join packs, Lyrian interrupted. I don't shift. I don't... Her words died as her fingernails began burning. Not the mild ache from earlier, but searing pain. She looked down to see them lengthening, sharpening. Moon-touched light flickered beneath her skin. No, she gasped. This can't... The bloodhounds howled again. 3 of them, triangulating. And deep inside, something that had slept her entire life suddenly opened its eyes. The thing inside her stretched like a cat, waking from centuries of sleep. Lyrian's bones ached with wrongness, her skin too tight, her teeth sharpening against her will. Don't fight it, Theron said, his voice surprisingly gentle. Fighting makes it worse. I have to, she gasped, pressing her palms against the cold stone wall. If I shift, if anyone sees. Luna wolves can't hide forever. He moved closer but didn't touch. Your body knows danger approaches. It's trying to protect you. Another howl split the night, followed by crashes through underbrush. The bloodhounds weren't bothering with stealth. How long since your first calling? Theron asked. My what? His eyes widened. You've been suppressing it since childhood? That's impossible. The fever alone should have killed you. There were fevers, Lyrian admitted through gritted teeth. Every full moon since I turned 13. Mother said it was a blood sickness. Gave me wolfsbane tea to... She stopped, understanding dawning. She poisoned you, Theron said flatly. Small doses of wolfsbane to keep your wolf dormant. But now, with her gone, with your blood awakened by saving Kale, the door exploded inward. Not bloodhounds, not yet, but 5 figures in Raziel's crimson and black. Elite hunters, their silver weapons gleaming. Well, well, the lead hunter said, pulling back his hood to reveal scarred features. The little murderer and the Shadowmere Alpha. Lord Commander Raziel will be pleased. Captain Dre, Theron acknowledged, subtly positioning himself between Lyrian and the hunters. Still doing Raziel's dirty work? Still protecting fugitives, Alpha? Dre countered. His eyes fixed on Lyrian. You've led us quite a chase, girl. 3 weeks of searching, only to find you here, reeking of moon magic. She's under pack protection, Theron stated. She's a fugitive who killed 4 guards. In self-defense, Theron said. After they discovered what she was and tried to cage her like an animal. Dre smiled coldly. What she is? And what might that be? The burning in Lyrian's bones intensified. Her vision sharpened, colors bleeding into startling clarity. She could hear each hunter's heartbeat, smell their fear beneath their bravado. "Stand aside, Alpha," Dre commanded, "or we'll take you both." "Try," Theron said simply. Violence erupted. Theron shifted mid-leap, his massive black form crashing into two hunters. But more poured through the door, not 5, but a dozen, prepared for pack resistance. A hunter grabbed Lyrian's arm, silver shackles ready. The touch triggered something primal. Her bones cracked, reshaping. Her scream became a howl. "No!" She tried to stop it, but her body no longer obeyed. The transformation was agony, every bone breaking and reforming, skin tearing as fur erupted, muscles stretching into new configurations. She'd watched Kale shift smoothly. This was nothing like that. This was violent, desperate, 13 years of suppression released at once. When it ended, silence filled the mill. Lyrian stood on 4 legs, her fur not the common gray or brown of normal wolves, not even the solid black of an alpha. She was silver, pure metallic silver that seemed to hold its own light. But that wasn't what made everyone freeze. It was the flames. Moonfire danced along her fur without burning, rolled off her in waves of cold light. Her eyes, when she turned them on the hunters, were no longer human green, but moon white, pupilless, ancient. "Blessed Mother," one hunter whispered. "It's true. A Luna wolf lives." "Kill it!" Dre shouted, but his voice cracked with fear. "Kill it before—" Lyrian moved, not with the awkwardness of a first shift, but with lethal grace, as if her body had always known this form. She flowed between the hunters like liquid moonlight, and where she touched, celestial flames spread, not burning, freezing. A hunter screamed as frost covered his sword arm. Another collapsed as cold fire numbed his legs. "The bloodhounds!" someone shouted. 3 monstrous shapes bounded through the door, wolves twisted by dark magic, twice the size of normal wolves, their eyes glowing sickly green. They went straight for Lyrian. The first bloodhound's jaws closed on her shoulder. Instead of blood, luminous light erupted from the wound. The creature howled, releasing her as its mouth frosted over. But more hunters flooded in, and more bloodhounds. Even with Theron fighting beside her, they were overwhelmed. "Shift back!" Theron roared between tearing into a hunter. "You're not ready for this!" But Lyrian couldn't. The wolf was in control now. 13 years of cage-mad fury unleashed. A silver net fell over her, blessed silver that should burn any shifter. On her, it merely tangled, the silver recognizing its own. But it still trapped her, brought her crashing down. Dre stood over her, crossbow aimed at her heart. "Lord Commander Raziel wants you alive, but dead works too." The bolt flew. Theron intercepted it, the silver tip punching through his chest. He collapsed half on top of her, his blood mixing with moon-touched flames. "No!" The word tore from Lyrian's throat. Human voice from wolf muzzle, and every wolf for miles heard it. Not just heard, felt it in their bones, a command that bypassed thought and went straight to instinct. The hunters froze as howls answered from every direction. The Shadowmere pack was coming, but more than that. Lone wolves, rogues, even enemy packs. All responding to a call they didn't understand, but couldn't refuse. "What did you do?" Dre demanded. Lyrian didn't know, but the moon did, singing in her blood. The lost crown calls. All must answer. The answering howls grew closer, a symphony of submission that shouldn't exist. Wolves from different packs didn't unite. They fought, they defended territory, they died before bowing to another alpha. Yet here they came, drawn by Lyrian's desperate call. "Fall back," Dre commanded his hunters. "Defensive circle, silver weapons out." Theron groaned beneath Lyrian, the silver bolt protruding from his chest smoking against his skin. She tried to nose him, to help, but the net held her fast. Her celestial flames flickered weakly against the blessed metal. "Fascinating," a new voice said from the doorway. "The Luna air, tangled in silver that should kill her, yet it merely restrains." Lord Commander Raziel entered, his presence making the air feel heavier. Unlike his hunter's practical leather, he wore ceremonial armor of black steel inlaid with crimson runes. His hair, white despite his middle years, was pulled back to reveal a face that might have been handsome if not for the cruelty in his pale eyes. "My lord," Dre stammered, "you shouldn't be here. It's not secure." Silence. Raziel approached Lyrian slowly, studying her like a specimen. "Do you know what you are, child?" Lyrian snarled, her wolf's voice layered with otherworldly harmonics. "You're not just Luna-born," Raziel continued. "You're the direct heir, the granddaughter of Queen Seraphina herself. Your mother, dear, clever Alara, thought she could hide you among humans, suppress your nature with wolfsbane and lies." He knelt beside her, just out of reach of her snapping jaws. "But blood always tells, and yours? Yours is worth kingdoms." The first of the arriving wolves burst through the windows, not Shadowmere Pack, but rogues, their eyes glazed white as if in thrall. They didn't attack the hunters. They simply arranged themselves in a circle, waiting. "You see," Raziel said, standing, "Luna wolves don't just shift, they command. Every wolf who hears their call must obey. With you properly controlled, I wouldn't need armies. I'd have every pack in the realm." "She's not a weapon," Theron gasped, trying to rise despite his wound. "Everything's a weapon, Alpha. Some just need proper handling." Raziel drew a collar from his cloak, not silver but something darker, metal that seemed to absorb light. "Void iron, the only substance that can truly bind a Luna wolf." More wolves arrived, 20, 30, 40. The mill groaned under their combined weight. Among them, Lyrian spotted Kale, still weak, but shifted despite his injuries. His ice-bright eyes met hers, and she saw him mouth, "Trust us." "Collar her," Raziel ordered. As Dre approached with the void iron, something changed in the assembled wolves. The white glaze left their eyes, replaced by fury. They hadn't come to obey. They'd come to protect. The attack was coordinated chaos. Wolves launched at hunters from every angle. In the melee, Kale reached Lyrian, his jaws closing on the silver net and pulling. Where it touched him, his muzzle blistered, but he didn't let go. "Kill them all!" Raziel shouted. "Save only the Luna!" The void iron collar swung toward Lyrian's neck. At the last second, a gray wolf, Finn, intercepted it. The collar snapped around his throat instead. He dropped instantly, his form flickering between wolf and human as the void iron disrupted his very essence. "No!" Lyrian's anguish tore from her throat, and moonfire exploded outward. The net dissolved. She stood free, celestial light rolling off her in waves. But she wasn't the only one burning. Theron had shifted back to human form, one hand pressed to his bleeding chest, the other raised toward the moon visible through the broken roof. "By right of blood spilled," he said, his voice carrying despite its weakness, "I call the ancient right." Every wolf froze. Even Raziel's hunters stopped fighting. "You can't," Dre said. "The right hasn't been called in 100 years." "I call it now," Theron continued. "Trial by moon. If she is truly Luna-born, let her prove it before all packs." Raziel laughed coldly. You think the old laws protect her? She must shift at Moon's peak before the gathered packs. Show her true form to all, and if she is Luna— His smile was vicious. Then by those same ancient laws, she must take her place. Rule or die. Accepted, Theron said before Lyrian could protest. No. She shifted back to human form without meaning to, suddenly naked and vulnerable. Kyle threw his cloak over her. I don't want to rule anyone. 3 days, Raziel announced. Moon's Peak, Shadowmere Summit. Every pack will witness. He looked at Lyrian. Come willingly, or I'll burn the forest to find you. He swept out, his hunters and bloodhounds following. Only the void iron collar remained, still wrapped around Finn's unconscious form. Get it off him, Theron commanded. As wolves struggled with the collar, Lyrian knelt beside Theron. Why? She demanded. Why trap me like this? Because the alternative was watching you die tonight. He coughed, blood speckling his lips. The right is sacred. Even Raziel can't break it. You have 3 days to prepare. Prepare for what? I can't. Control this thing inside me. Then learn, Theron said. Or at Moon's Peak, when you're forced to shift before every pack in the realm, you won't be their queen. His burnished eyes held hers. You'll be their slave. The Shadowmere den sprawled through a network of natural caves, warm with underground springs and lit by crystalline formations that caught and reflected moonlight. Lyrian had been given a chamber deep within, not a prison, but she felt caged nonetheless. 2 days until Moon's Peak. 2 days to master what she'd suppressed for 13 years. Again, Maeve commanded. The pack's healer was ancient even by shifter standards, her hair white as fresh snow, her yellow eyes sharp as broken glass. Shift. I can't just shift on command, Lyrian protested. It only happens when you're in danger? When you're angry? Maeve circled her slowly. Child, if you can't shift at will, Raziel will use it against you. The gathering will see weakness, not power. Through the cave opening, Lyrian could hear the pack preparing. Wolves from across the territories were already arriving for the rite, something that hadn't happened in living memory. Close your eyes, Maeve instructed. Feel for the wolf. She's not separate from you. She is you. Lyrian tried, reaching for that silver presence inside. It stirred but didn't surface, like trying to grab smoke. You're afraid of her, Maeve observed. I'm afraid of what she means, Lyrian corrected. My mother died to keep me from this. If I become what Raziel wants— Your mother was human, Maeve interrupted. She feared what she didn't understand. But your father— My father was nobody. Some traveling merchant who— Your father was Fenris Moonstrider, last Alpha King before the pack scattered. Maeve's words landed like stones. Your mother wasn't hiding you from what you might become. She was hiding you from those who killed him. Before Lyrian could respond, Kale entered, fully healed but moving carefully. Theron requests your presence. The western packs have arrived. The main cavern was packed with wolves and humans, the energy crackling with tension. Theron stood at the center, still recovering but projecting strength. His eyes found Lyrian immediately. The challenged has arrived, he announced. Conversations died. Let all witness. A woman stepped forward, tall, severe, her red hair braided with bones. I am Morgra of the Blood Moon Pack. I speak for the Western Territories. Her green eyes fixed on Lyrian with disgust. This pup claims Luna blood? She is Lunaborn, Theron confirmed. Prove it, Morgra demanded. Shift. Now. Show us these legendary silver flames. The rite is tomorrow, Theron began. "The right determines if we accept her." Morgra cut him off. "But first, we need proof she's worth accepting." Other pack leaders murmured agreement. Lyrian felt hundreds of eyes on her, waiting, judging. She reached for her wolf, but under such scrutiny it retreated deeper. Morgra laughed. "As I thought. A half-blood at best, more likely a clever fake. Raziel plays games with us." "She saved my life," Kale said, stepping beside Lyrian. "Her blood burned blessed silver from my veins." "Many have traced moon magic," Morgra dismissed. "But Luna wolves?" She stalked closer to Lyrian. "They shift like breathing, command without thought. This girl can't even find her wolf when challenged." Humiliation burned in Lyrian's chest. The wolf stirred, responding to emotion. "You want proof?" Lyrian said, her voice rougher than intended. "Lyrian," Theron warned. But Morgra had already pressed closer, her own power pushing against Lyrian's skin like heated needles. "Yes, pup, show us. Or admit your fraud." The wolf rose so fast Lyrian couldn't stop it. Not the agonizing transformation of before. This was explosive. One moment human, the next moonfire erupted from her skin. Her form didn't shift. It shattered and reformed. The silver wolf stood where Lyrian had been, luminous flames dancing along her fur, eyes white as winter moon. But this time, she was larger than before, matching even Theron's impressive size. Morgra stumbled back. Every wolf in the cavern, shifted or human, dropped to their bellies. Not chose to, were forced to. The Luna wolf's presence pressed them down like invisible weight. "Kneel," a voice echoed, not spoken but felt in every shifter's bones. Morgra fought it, her body trembling with effort. "You can't command an alpha?" The silver wolf stepped forward, and Morgra's knees buckled. But something was wrong. Lyrian felt herself fragmenting, the wolf's consciousness overwhelming her human mind. She was losing herself in the power, becoming more wolf than woman. "Mine," the wolf declared, celestial light spreading across the stone floor. "All mine." "Lyrian," Theron's voice, strained but urgent. He alone remained standing, though she could see the effort it cost him. "Come back. This isn't you." The wolf turned to him, considering. This male had protected them, bled for them. But he also defied them. "Submit," the wolf commanded. "No," Theron said simply. "I submit to Lyrian, not to the power consuming her." The words penetrated the silver haze. Lyrian fought for control, trying to pull back. But the wolf had been caged too long. It wanted freedom, dominance, revenge for years of suppression. Then Kale did something unexpected. He shifted to human form and began to sing, a low, haunting melody in the old tongue. A lullaby, Lyrian realized, something mothers sang to calm, frightened pups. The wolf's fury softened, confused. In that moment of uncertainty, Lyrian seized control, forcing the shift back. She collapsed naked on the stone, moon-touched flames dying to mere sparkles on her skin. Theron's cloak covered her instantly. "That," Morgra said from her knees, voice shaking, "was Luna power." She looked up, and there was fear in her eyes. But untrained, uncontrolled. Tomorrow at Moon's Peak, if she shifts like that. She didn't finish. Everyone understood. A Luna wolf who couldn't control her power wouldn't rule. She'd destroy. And Raziel would be there to chain what remained. "One more day," Theron said quietly to Lyrian. "We have one more day to prepare you." But through the cave entrance a horn sounded. Raziel's forces had arrived early, surrounding Shadowmere Summit. The trap was closing. Moon's Peak arrived with storm clouds, as if the sky itself protested what was to come. The ancient amphitheater atop Shadowmere summit, carved from the mountain by the first wolves, overflowed with shifters from every pack in the realm. Lyrian stood in the center, wearing only a thin ceremonial robe that would tear easily when she shifted. Her skin prickled with nervous energy. Around the circle's edge, 12 alpha leaders sat as witnesses. Among them, Morgra watched with calculating eyes, while others she didn't recognize murmured behind raised hands. Theron stood with his pack at the circle's eastern point, the place of honor for the host pack. His wound had healed enough for him to stand straight, though Kale remained close, ready to support him. Their eyes met hers, trying to project confidence she didn't feel. Raziel occupied the western point with a contingent of 50 hunters, all armed with blessed silver and void iron chains. He wore robes of office, the human lord commander here to observe the shifter ritual. But everyone knew his true purpose. "The moon rises," announced Elder Hakon, the oldest alpha present, his gray form scarred from countless battles. "Let the challenged come forward." Lyrian stepped into the exact center, where ancient symbols were carved into stone. The moment her bare feet touched them, she felt it. Power, old as the mountain, humming through the rock. "You stand accused of claiming Luna blood," Hakon intoned. "The packs demand proof. Shift and show your true nature. Command us if you can. Fail and face judgment." "And if she succeeds?" Theron asked loudly. Hakon's ancient eyes glinted. "Then every pack must choose, accept her as Luna Queen, or challenge her right to rule." Lyrian's heart sank. Even if she controlled the shift, she'd face challenger after challenger. "Begin," Hakon commanded. Lyrian closed her eyes, reaching for her wolf. But hundreds of eyes watching, dozens of alphas pressing their power against hers, made it impossible to focus. The wolf retreated, skittish as wounded prey. Minutes passed. Murmurs rose from the crowd. "She can't do it," someone whispered. "Fraud," another agreed. Raziel smiled coldly. "Perhaps she needs motivation." He signaled his hunters. They dragged someone forward. Finn, the young wolf who'd taken the void iron collar meant for her. He was human form now, the collar still locked around his throat, its dark metal suppressing his ability to shift. "No!" Lyrian started forward, but Hakon raised a hand. "The rite cannot be interrupted." Raziel drew a silver blade. "Shift, or watch him die. Your choice, Luna Heir." He pressed the blade to Finn's throat. A drop of blood welled. Rage exploded through Lyrian, not hers, but her wolf's. The creature burst from her skin in a torrent of moonfire. But this time, Lyrian didn't fight for control. She merged with it, human consciousness and wolf instinct becoming one. The silver wolf stood taller than any shifted form present, celestial flames dancing along fur that seemed made of moonlight itself. When she opened her eyes, they weren't white, but silver shot with stars. Every shifter in the amphitheater dropped, not to their knees, but to their bellies, ancient instinct overriding conscious thought. Even the alphas couldn't resist, their human forms pressed to stone in submission. Only Raziel's human hunters remained standing, and they backed away in terror. "Release him." The command bypassed ears, resonating in bones. Raziel's hand opened against his will, the blade falling, but he smiled. "Beautiful. You're everything the texts promised, with you properly collared." Lyrian moved faster than sight, luminous light streaking across the circle. Her jaws closed on the void iron collar around Finn's neck. The metal that could supposedly bind anything supernatural shattered like glass between her teeth. Finn gasped, his wolf form exploding outward in desperate freedom. Impossible, Raziel breathed. Nothing is impossible for the last Luna, Lyrian's voice echoed across the summit. She turned to face the prostrated alphas. Rise, speak your challenges, or accept what you see. Morgra stood first, trembling. I withdraw any challenge. The Blood Moon Pack acknowledges the Luna Queen. Others followed, some eagerly, some reluctantly, but all acknowledged what couldn't be denied. True Luna power had returned. You think this changes anything? Raziel snarled. You're one wolf against armies, and there are ways to bind even Luna wolves. Your grandmother learned that when we... He stopped, realizing what he'd revealed. Theron rose despite the residual pressure to kneel. You killed Queen Seraphina. The humans feared her power, Raziel said, abandoning pretense. She could have united the packs, created an army to overthrow human kingdoms. We couldn't allow it. So you murdered her. Lyrian's human voice layered over wolf song. And now you want to use me as the weapon you feared she'd become. You have no choice, Raziel said. Submit, or I'll burn every pack territory, kill every wolf I find, starting with him. He pointed at Theron. Before anyone could move, Lyrian did something no one expected. She laughed, a sound both human and wolf, carrying across the summit like rolling thunder. You threaten wolves? Here? In our most sacred place? She raised her muzzle to the storm-darkened sky and howled. It wasn't a normal howl. It was layered with harmonics that shouldn't exist, carrying power that made the mountain itself tremble. Every wolf, present, shifted or not, joined involuntarily, their voices creating a symphony that shook stones loose from the amphitheater's edges, but more answered from beyond the summit, from the forests, the valleys, the distant mountains. Every wolf for hundreds of miles heard the Luna's call and responded. What are you doing? Raziel demanded. Choosing, Lyrian replied. You say I must rule or die, but there's a third option. She shifted back to human form but remained standing, naked and unashamed, moon-touched light still flickering along her skin. I challenge the old laws. Any who wish to follow me may, any who wish to remain independent may, but no one, human or wolf, will cage us again. The packs need a Luna Queen, Elder Hakan protested. It's tradition. Tradition got my grandmother killed, Lyrian countered. I'll be something new, not a queen to command, but a protector when needed. A voice for all wolves, not a chain around their necks. She looked directly at Raziel. And if you come for any pack, you face them all. United not by force, but by choice. The silence stretched taut. Then Theron stepped forward, still wounded but standing tall. The Shadowmere Pack chooses to follow the Luna, not as subjects, but as allies. The Blood Moon Pack agrees, Morgra added, surprising everyone. One by one, every pack declared, not submission, but alliance. Raziel's face purpled with rage. This isn't over. The human kingdoms won't accept. They will, Lyrian interrupted. Because the alternative is war, they can't win. We're not your enemies unless you make us so. She stepped close to him, celestial flames dancing in her eyes. Leave, now. And if you harm another wolf, I'll personally show you why humans once worshipped us as gods. Raziel wanted to fight. She could see it in his eyes. But surrounded by hundreds of shifted wolves, with moonfire licking at Lyrian's skin, he knew he'd lost. Retreat, he ordered his hunters. As they fled, Lyrian felt the weight of what had happened settling on her shoulders. She'd changed everything. Rejected queenship but accepted responsibility. Theron approached, offering his cloak. That was brave, and possibly insane. Maybe, Lyrian agreed, accepting the covering. But it's better than being anyone's weapon. Around them, the packs began to mingle, something that hadn't happened in generations. The Luna had returned, not to rule, but to unite. The storm above began to clear, revealing the full moon. It seemed to shine directly on Lyrian, turning her skin to silver. "So," Kyle said, approaching with a grin, "what do we call you, if not queen?" Lyrian considered, then smiled. Just Lyrian, the girl who chose differently. But in her bones, the wolf sang a different name: Liberator. 3 months had passed since the summit. The first snows of winter dusted the valley where Lyrian had made her new home. Not in Shadowmere's caves, but in a lodge built where 3 pack territories met. Neutral ground, Kay called it. A place where any wolf could come seeking the Luna's aid. She stood on the porch, watching the sunrise paint the mountains gold. Her morning ritual was interrupted by footsteps. Not the soft pad of wolf paws, but human boots, deliberate and measured. "You're up early," Theron said, offering her a steaming mug of pine tea. "Old habits," Lyrian replied, accepting the warmth gratefully. "I still expect Raziel's hunters to appear." "They won't. The border treaty holds?" He moved to stand beside her, close enough that their shoulders touched. "Though I bring news from the human kingdoms." Lyrian tensed. "What kind of news?" "Lord Commander Raziel has been stripped of his position. The human kings decided having someone who'd provoke unified packs wasn't in their best interest." "He's gone?" "Exiled to the eastern wastes." Theron's smile held satisfaction. "Seems threatening to burn forests made him unpopular with human merchants who need those trade routes." Relief flooded through her. These 3 months had been peaceful, but she'd waited for the other shoe to drop. "There's more," Theron continued. "The new Lord Commander sent a proposal. A formal alliance between human kingdoms and the Pack territories. Trade agreements, mutual defense, recognition of our lands as sovereign. In exchange for the Luna's official seal on any treaty." Lyrian sighed. Even refusing queenship, she couldn't escape the weight of what she was. "I'll need to discuss it with all the alphas." "Already arranged. They'll arrive for the winter gathering next week." He paused. "Though I think they're coming more for the other announcement." "What other announcement?" Theron turned to face her fully. In the morning light, his golden eyes held warmth she'd only recently allowed herself to acknowledge. "That the Luna has chosen a mate." Heat bloomed across Lyrian's cheeks. "That's presumptuous. I haven't chosen anyone." "Haven't you?" He reached up, fingers ghosting along her jaw. "You could have stayed with any pack. Could have had any alpha. Yet you're here, in a lodge I helped build, wearing my cloak, drinking tea I made." She wanted to protest, but he was right. These 3 months, as she'd learned to balance her dual nature, Theron had been constant. Not pushing, not demanding, just present. He'd taught her pack law, helped her understand the political currents between territories, stood beside her when alphas challenged her decisions. More than that, he'd seen her at her worst, lost to the wolf's rage, and hadn't flinched. "The Luna can't show favoritism to one pack," she said weakly. "Which is why I stepped down as Shadowmere's alpha. Kale leads them now." His thumb traced her cheekbone. "I'm just Theron, a wolf who happens to be desperately in love with a woman who refuses to be queen." The words hung between them, invitation and declaration both. Lyrian set down her mug and turned fully into his embrace. "This changes everything." "Everything's already changed," he countered. "You united the packs without commanding them. Forced humans to negotiate instead of hunt us. became legend without accepting a crown. His forehead touched hers. What's one more impossible thing? She kissed him then, letting herself have this one selfish choice. His arms wrapped around her, pulling her close, and for a moment the world narrowed to just this: warmth and want, and the feeling of coming home. When they parted, luminous light danced in her eyes, but controlled now, contained. The Pax won't all approve, she warned. Morgra already gave her blessing, says it's about time the Luna took something for herself. And if I lose control again? If the wolf? Then I'll sing you back, like Kale did. Or hold you until you remember who you are. Or fight beside you if that's what's needed. He smiled. I'm not afraid of your wolf, Lyrian. She's part of you, and I love all of you. Movement in the tree line caught their attention. A white wolf emerged. Not shifted, but pure wolf. It carried something in its mouth, approaching slowly. That's Ghost, Lyrian said, recognizing the wolf she'd healed last month. What's he? Ghost dropped his burden at her feet. A crown of woven silver branches, delicate as frost, set with a single moonstone. More wolves emerged from the forest. Dozens, then hundreds, each carrying small offerings, flowers preserved in ice, carved totems, precious stones. They arranged them in a circle around the lodge before sitting, waiting. What is this? Lyrian whispered. Elder Hakon appeared in human form, smiling. The old queens were crowned by humans, with gold and ceremony, but you're crowned by choice. Each wolf here came freely, brought gifts freely, acknowledges you freely. I said I wouldn't be queen. And you're not, Hakon agreed. You're something new. The first Luna chosen not by blood or force, but by the will of the Pax. So we crown you our way, with gifts, not commands. Tears blurred Lyrian's vision. She'd spent her life running from power, only to find it offered freely when she refused to grasp it. Theron picked up the silver crown, holding it carefully. May I? She nodded, not trusting her voice. He placed it gently on her head. The moonstone caught the morning light, casting rainbow patterns across the snow. The assembled wolves howled, not commanded but choosing to voice their acceptance. The sound rolled across the valley like thunder, proclaiming to the world that the Luna had returned. But Lyrian barely heard it. She was looking at Theron, at the future spreading before them, at the family she'd never expected to find. So, she said, celestial light dancing along her skin in joy rather than rage, ready to help me change the world? Always, he promised, and kissed her again as the sun rose fully, bathing everything in golden light. In the distance, barely visible against the mountains, a lone silver wolf watched before disappearing into morning mist. Some said it was the spirit of Queen Seraphina, finally at peace knowing her bloodline had not just survived, but thrived. The Luna had risen, not to rule, but to unite. Not to command, but to protect. And the world would never be the same.